Okay, so let's unpack this. If I asked you to visualize, the history of life on Earth,
Hmm.
you'd probably picture that classic diagram, the one we all saw in science class.
Right, the one that starts with a little microbe in the soup.
Exactly. It
Yeah.
starts on the left with a single-celled organism, then it crawls onto land, becomes a monkey, and boom, there's a human standing up straight.
It's a story of ascent, of
And
progress.
it tells us that we started at the absolute bottom as like sludge, and we clawed our way to the top.
And that we are the most advanced version of life that has ever existed. That's the narrative.
Right. But, and this is where today gets really interesting, what if that arrow is pointing in the completely wrong direction?
What if it's in inversion?
Exactly. I've been reading through the source material for today's deep dive, and it suggests we didn't start as microbes moving upward. We started as perfect beings moving downward. We didn't evolve.
Hmm.
We devolved.
It's a radical flip of the script.
Mm-hmm.
And today we are looking at the Aggañña Sutta.
Which people sometimes call the Buddhist book of Genesis.
They do, but I think that title actually sells it a bit short. It's not just a religious myth. It's this profound record that blends cosmology, psychology, sociology.
Into one incredibly cohesive and, frankly, kind of tragic story.
It really
It reads like a mystery novel where the big question is, how did we get into this mess? And so the mission for this deep dive is to explore the Buddha's answer to the riddle of human origin.
We're covering the birth of the planet, how we ended up in these, heavy biological bodies.
And most critically, the origin of pana, craving.
And the so what here is massive. This isn't just ancient history. It's a diagnostic for today. It argues that things we think are just human nature, greed, social hierarchy, conflict, they aren't innate.
They're not hardwired into us.
No, they are acquired bad habits.
Which is actually a hopeful thought. If they're habits, maybe they can be broken. But okay, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's go way, way back.
To the beginning of the eon.
So we aren't talking about the Big Bang exactly, but set the scene. What does the universe look like before us?
The description is actually quite stark. The universe has just gone through a cycle of destruction, and as the new one begins, it's described as a world of water.
A world of water.
It's pitch black, blindingly dark,
Yeah.
and just consumed by this water.
Okay, so when the text says water, are we talking about like an ocean, H2O, floating in space? Is it wet?
That's a great question, and it's where we have to be careful with translation. The source uses the term apodhatu, the water element.
And that means what?
In Buddhist philosophy, water represents the quality of cohesion, binding energy.
Gravity.
In a sense, yeah. It's the immense force that pulls matter together. Before anything solid exists, you have this potential for cohesion, a fluid state.
No solid ground, just this dark unifying force.
Exactly.
Okay, so we have this dark, watery void. Who's there? Because you said we didn't start as monkeys.
No, we didn't. According to the sutta, our first ancestors are the Apasara Brahmas,
The radiant beings.
the radiant beings.
That sounds vastly superior to my current state.
Well, they're fascinating. First, the text says their birth is opapatika,
Meaning?
spontaneous.
So, no parents.
No parents, no childhood, no growing up. They just appear fully formed. And since the earth isn't solid yet, they don't have bodies of meat and bone. They have fine bodies.
Ethereal.
Yeah, made of
And
mind.
the radiant part.
That's literal. They have their own self-generated light. Remember, the universe is dark, no sun, no moon, but these beings are luminescent. They light up the void just by existing.
That is pure sci-fi. We started as self-luminous beings of energy.
We did. And they can fly or move through the air because gravity hasn't really trapped them. And here's the kicker. They don't eat physical food.
No Uber Eats then,
No need. They feed on piti,
which is...
rapture, joy. Their food is their own internal state of bliss.
Okay, let me get this straight. You can fly, you glow in the dark, you run on pure joy, and there's no rent to pay.
Sounds pretty good, right?
It sounds perfect. Why would anyone, literally anyone, mess that up? How did we get from that to here?
Curiosity.
Yep.
And the formation of the planet. As this watery state settles, a substance appears on the surface. The text calls it pathavirasa.
Savory earth.
Exactly. Savory earth.
That sounds appetizing?
Apparently it was. It's described as fragrant, sweet, like pure honey. And these light beings, they're curious, they're floating around, and one of them, just one, sticks a finger in and tastes it.
Ah, the classic don't push the red button moment.
Precisely. And this is the pivotal moment. This is the birth of Vasatana.
Craving for sensory contact.
Yes. You see, the beings were too fine, too subtle to really interact with the coarse world. But by tasting the earth, they created this desire for solidity. They wanted to feel something.
You wanted to interact with the world instead of just observing it.
And the result was a metabolic transformation. By eating the savory earth, they internalized the earth element, the Pathavi Dhatu.
They're literally what they eat.
Literally.
Ah,
And as they kept eating, their bodies got heavier, they became coarse, solid. And here's the tragedy.
yeah.
Because they became solid,
It lost their light.
they lost their internal luminosity. The lights went out. Darkness returned to the world.
That is a terrifying image. The universe goes black because we decided to snack.
And because that internal light is gone, nature responds. The sun and moon appear to provide external light. But think about the symbolism. We used to generate our own light. Now we depend on external things to see.
We lost our autonomy, and I'm guessing that they lost the ability to fly, too.
They became grounded. Gravity took hold. They're now trapped in matter.
That is a heavy metaphor, pun intended. We traded our light and our freedom for the taste of something sweet. It feels like an addiction story.
It absolutely is. And the Sutta outlines a whole series of declines, each one triggered by a deeper craving, and now it gets social.
Right, because once they're solid, they start to look different from each other. Before this, they were all identical balls of light.
Correct. But now, with physical bodies, variation happens. The text says some beings became beautiful and some became ugly.
And I can guess what happens next.
The beautiful ones look down on the ugly ones. They say, I am superior to you.
The birth of arrogance, discrimination.
And the ego. The text is so clear. Physical form leads to comparison. Comparison leads to ego. The social hierarchy is born.
It's amazing how the psychology is just woven right into the cosmology. It's not just, and then they grew legs, it's, and then they became jerks.
Essentially, yes. And notice the pattern. Internal moral decline leads to external environmental decline. Because of their arrogance, the savory earth disappears. It's replaced by a coarser earth crust.
The world gets harder and less forgiving the more arrogant they become.
Exactly. Which brings us to the next big shift. Gender.
The third decline.
The craving for touch, which started with just tasting, evolves into a craving for reproduction. And the text describes this as the moment bodies develop distinct sexual organs, the being split into male and female.
So before this, they were androgynous or asexual.
Non-binary, essentially.
Insane.
Just beings. But with sex organs, lust arises, and the method of birth changes. That spontaneous, magical opapatica birth. It ends. Sexual reproduction begins.
And this is the real transition, from an angelic existence to biological humanity as we know it.
We are now fully flesh and blood, male and female, driven by desire, and now that they're biological human.
They have biological needs. They need calories.
Which brings us to the economics of the situation. The food source shifts again, this time to a type of rice called sali.
But this wasn't like the rice you buy at the store.
Not at all. The source says it grew naturally without husks. It was ready to eat right off the stalk. And the most important detail,
It regenerated.
fully, every single day.
That sounds incredible. Zero labor, infinite supply. You just go out, grab lunch, and tomorrow it's all back.
It was an economy of total abundance. No need for farming, no storage, and so no concept of mine versus yours.
Wow.
Everyone had enough.
How did we break this system? Because honestly, unlimited free food sounds like the solution to half the world's problems today.
Laziness
Yeah.
and anxiety. The Sutta points to one specific person. One person thinks, getting up every single morning to gather rice. It's a hassle. Why don't I just grab enough for 2 days?
I mean, that sounds like efficiency to me. That's just good time management.
To the modern mind, maybe.
Yeah.
But in this context, it was the seed of hoarding. It was the lack of trust in nature's abundance. It was the introduction of surplus.
And of course, people copy him.
Immediately, his neighbor sees this and thinks, hey, smart move. I'll grab enough for 4 days. The next person grabs for 8. They start accumulating.
And nature reacts.
Instantly. Because of this greed, the rice stops regenerating daily. It grows husks, so now you have to work to process it. It stops growing everywhere. Now it only grows in clumps. Resources become finite.
Wow. So the scarcity we live with today, the text is saying that's a reaction to our own greed?
Yes, scarcity isn't just a fact of the world. It's a consequence of our relationship with it. And once resources were finite, people started hoarding land.
Dividing it up.
This is my plot. That is your plot.
And if you have mine and yours, eventually you have theft.
Exactly. People started stealing rice, lying about it, Violence erupted. They started hitting each other with sticks to defend their stockpiles. The utopia was completely gone.
This is just a chaotic picture. You have these fallen light beings, now solid, gendered, hungry, fighting over rice paddies.
It's the Hobbesian nightmare. Life became nasty, brutish, and short. And the people realized they couldn't live like this. They needed order, a social contract.
So they held an election.
In a way, yes. They gathered and decided to choose a leader. They found the most capable person and said, "We need you to maintain order." They gave him the title Mahasamata,
Which means?
the great elect, the one chosen by the multitude,
In his job description.
to judge disputes, punish wrongdoers, and allocate the land fairly. In exchange, the people agreed to give him a share of their rice.
Taxes. They invented taxes.
They invented government. And this is crucial. This figure, Mahasamata, is the origin of the Kshatriya caste, the warrior or ruler class.
Why is that specific detail so important?
Well, you have to think about the context of the Buddha's time. The system then taught that the castes were divine. Brahmins from the mouth of God, kings from his arms.
A fixed, holy order.
Right. And this story completely dismantles that. The Buddha's saying, no, the ruler isn't divine. The ruler's just a guy we hired to stop people from stealing rice.
It demystifies the whole power structure.
It makes it a social contract, born from bad behavior, not a divine blessing.
That is a massive political statement. It's telling the kings, you work for us.
It really is.
Yeah.
And the text explains the other castes the same way. It says some people were so repulsed by the violence and the lying that they went into the forest to meditate. Those became the Brahmins.
So the priests weren't chosen by God. They were just the people who opted out of the rat race.
The sensitive ones, exactly. And those who traded goods became merchants. Those who served or hunted became laborers.
So caste is just a job description.
It's an occupational description that evolved from necessity and greed. It's not in your blood. It's just what you do.
This brings us to the final synthesis then. If we are all just fallen light beings and caste is made up, what does that mean for us now? How does this help you today?
It means we're all fundamentally equal. We all come from that same Brahma realm. The divisions we see, rich, poor, high status, low status, they're artificial. They're just the result of our own cravings and history.
It levels the playing field.
It does. And the moral of the Aggañña Sutta is really empowering. It says that true nobility isn't about your birth. It's not your family name or how much land you own. It's about karma, action.
So a high-class person who acts with greed and hatred is actually low, and a low-class person who acts with kindness and wisdom is high.
Precisely. The person who eliminates defilements, greed, hatred, delusion, that person is the supreme human being. That's the only hierarchy that actually matters to the Buddha.
It's a fascinating inversion. We usually think of evolution as getting more complex, adding more stuff, more laws, more infrastructure. But this story suggests progress might actually mean stripping things away.
Stripping away the greed, the arrogance.
The walls we've built.
That's a beautiful way to put it. The story says we built these shells, these bodies, and these societies out of desire. To get back to that radiant state, we have to undo that craving. We have to lighten the load.
It really makes you think about our modern world. We started this talking about how the light beings solidify because they wanted to taste the earth.
Yes, the desire for contact made them solid.
So here's a thought to leave you with. The decline started with a tiny craving for a taste, and it ended with walls, borders, and locked doors. If the world solidified because of our desire to possess it, what walls or shells are you building around yourself right now because of your own cravings? What are you solidifying in your life that maybe should be left light and open?
That is the question. Are we becoming more dense, or are we trying to find our light again?
Something to chew on. But maybe don't chew on the earth. Thanks for diving in with us today.
It's been a pleasure.
We'll see you next time.